If you've listed your home for sale and it's taken longer to sell than you think it should, or you want to list and want to sell fast, this video is going to help. I'm going to give you 9 common issues that may be keeping your home from selling. In some cases, it could be more than one. But by the end of this video, you'll know what the problems are and what to do about them. I'm going to encourage you, even if you think you know what the problem is, number one, your house would be sold, but watch this video anyway because sometimes it can be the smallest thing that kills a home sale. Number one, updating matters. I want you to understand something right up front, that when buyers are in home buying mode, they're being taken on tours of homes by their agent if they're using one, and most of them do. They're going from house to house to house over the course of a day, a weekend, or maybe a week or a month, whatever the case is, but they're comparing all the other homes on the market to yours. And so you got to make sure that your home is a little bit better for a little bit less price. That's just the formula. That's what'll work. But what are the things to pay attention to when it comes to updating? The kitchen. Make sure the kitchen is clean and nice, and that is a big deal for people when they're looking at houses. If the kitchen cabinets are clean and modern looking, then you're going to be okay. If they're old and need paint and they're peeling and stuff like that, you're going to need to either face those kitchens or replace them. Facing is a lot cheaper, I'm just telling you. When it comes to the appliances, if your appliances are Harvest Gold or Avocado Green, change those out. If they're older and they've looked used, like the burners, if it's glass top, electric, and it just scorched and scratched and worn out, get a new set of appliances for your kitchen. It's really not that expensive. You can get a bundle, I guess is probably a good way to say it, from microwave, stove, dishwasher, and maybe not the refrigerator, but those 3 items at least, for a couple of grand. It doesn't cost much, and the return on the investment will be huge by comparison of leaving the old stuff, because they'll negotiate the heck out of you if they decide to even try to buy your house with older appliances. When it comes to painted walls, make sure that your walls look painted or are freshly painted. What you don't want to have happen is have handprints and scuffs, round corners, doorknobs, down the walls, down the staircase, stuff like that. You don't want any terribly bold colors. It may have been fun to paint that living room dark red, but it's not fun for people when they're looking at the house. If you've got blue walls or black walls, which are fairly common in teenagers' rooms, you're going to need to paint that, and that's going to be kind of a trick. But make sure that the house is neutral, none of that bold stuff. And don't think for a minute, I'm just telling you, that leaving those bold colors up there, because they're going to repaint anyway, that's going to work. I'm telling you, in the long run, that is going to cost you money. For a $3,000 paint job, you're going to lose $6,000 in an offer price. So those are just estimates, but that's what will happen. When it comes to flooring, when you're touring homes, you've done this when you've gone to look at homes. If you see a house that's got wood flooring throughout, it just seems more impressive. It just does. When you see a house that's got wood flooring throughout, and then you go to the next place and it's got carpet, it's really a bummer. I mean, they really don't compete well. And I'm a carpet guy. I like carpet in some rooms for my feet because it's comfortable and I'm living there, But when you're selling your house, if you've got carpet, I'm just gonna tell you straight up, make sure that it is super clean, none of that shaggy stuff, super clean and super tight against the floor, no buckling, none. If you want top dollar, updating may be necessary. You gotta get advice on how far to go with that, but updating is gonna be important if you want top dollar. That's just the deal. Number 2, curb appeal. Curb appeal sets the tone for your buyers when they pull up. Make the curb appeal so nice that the buyers can't resist going inside your house. This is key. Some of the important things to remember: trim the hedges, mulch the flower beds, power wash the sidewalks and the driveway. No sidewalk chalk and as little engine oil, stuff like that as possible. If you can clean that away completely, that would be best. Plant a few new flowers in those flower beds. You don't have to go overboard. Make the yard healthy and green. If you're listed now, start watering, fertilize everything you can. Make that yard nice. If you're thinking about listing here in the next month or so or a couple of weeks, start watering now, fertilize now. Make your yard great. Make it lush. Paint the house if needed. Make sure that your gutters are solid and level and attached. That's important. And have you ever noticed sometimes you'll pull up to a house and the roof, the shingles, they look mildewy and kind of dirty? People notice that. And the first thing they're going to ask is, do I need to replace the roof? Clean your roof if you can. You can power wash those if they're not at the end of their life. So have that done. Here's the bottom line. If your curb appeal is lacking, you're going to miss out, because there's going to be a lot of people, some that will pull up, they're going to look at the outside of the house if it's not looking good, and they'll say, not for us, and they'll drive away. If your curb appeal is good, you're going to have every opportunity possible from your buyers. At least you're going to get them on the inside. Curb appeal is really important. Number 3, fix the problems. If your house has problems, fix them. Does the roof need shingles? Put shingles on. Doors stick, don't close. Fix that. Leaky faucets or slow drains, fix those. Windows cracked or stuck, fix those. If you have water in the basement or crawl space, get that fixed professionally and have the warranty documentation on hand. Water damage and foundation work really gets a buyer's attention, so make sure that you get it fixed professionally and you've got that warranty documentation in your pocket so you can give it to them, because they will ask, I guarantee you. Here's a pro tip. It's really easy to get used to your own house. I do the same thing. That lock that doesn't work every time, it's kind of crunchy, or the toilet that keeps running, or the window that you have to kind of hit extra hard to get it open. If you want top dollar, you got to pay attention to those little details. Fix those problems. If you don't, it'll cost you thousands, because a buyer will offer you less if they run into all kinds of problems like that. Hey, I hope you like what you're seeing so far. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you'd like to talk about real estate in Nashville and Williamson County specifically, reach out. My contact information is below and it's easy to find. It's all over the place. Number 4, declutter like a Hilton hotel. Since you know you're going to be moving, start decluttering. Start boxing things up and stack them neatly in the garage, preferably along one side so you can see plenty of the garage floor. They got to see that space. Try to get your home to look like a hotel room. Some will say, and I've heard it said before, that looks so sterile. I've never taken anybody into a model home in 20 years and they say that looks really sterile. What they say is, man, that looks really clean. That looks really nice. That's just normal. So declutter. The human eye, here's the tip. Here's the reason why you want to declutter. The human eye judges room size by the floor you can see. So if you know that, you're going to remove as much furniture as possible to show that square footage on the floor. Declutter your walls. Show that wall space. Your walls just look larger when there's a lot of open space on there. In particular, this is a great tip. In particular, clear out your closets, walk-in closets especially. Take everything off the floor, and I mean everything. More visible floor space makes a closet seem larger. If you can see it wall to wall, you're gonna say, that's a big old closet right there. If there's a bunch of stuff scattered in there, you're gonna think, that's not much room. If you want your house to appear as big as it is, and maybe even a little larger, declutter like your life depended on it. Number 5, a picture is worth $1,000. Do not cheap out on pictures. A good real estate photographer costs about $350. The days of iPhone pictures are gone. When you're looking through Zillow, Homes.com, the MLS, whatever it might be, do you notice the homes where their pictures are taken with an iPhone? Yes, you do. We all do. Next, drone shots. Do not pay for a drone shot unless you have a really large home with a lot of land. For a normal garden variety home, most of the time a drone shot boils down to a picture of the roof. Who needs that? Don't spend the money for drone shots. It's completely unnecessary. If you want any chance at all at selling your home fast and for top dollar, you have to have awesome photographs. Don't skimp on that. I'm telling you, that is a game changer. Number 6, let them in. I've seen sellers block out weekends with no showings because it's inconvenient. Don't do that. Let buyers come even if it's a hassle. You can keep the appointment short. You don't have to let them be there 2 hours. You can limit it to 30 minutes. It only takes one buyer to get a sale. And I'll say this again, I said it earlier, that when a buyer makes a decision to buy a house, it's like 2 minutes. You know, it's like, this is the one, let's write an offer for this place. It doesn't take very long. In real estate, there's 2 modes in living when you're in your house. Number one is the living mode. That's the garden variety. You got your sweater laying across the back of the couch, whatever. The next one is selling mode, is when every time you leave the house, it's in as close to perfect condition as it can be. Selling mode is short term. When you get that thing sold, you go back to living mode. So for the very best chance at a fast sale, let them in, even if it's a hassle. Trust me. Number 7, use the MLS. Now, this may be too obvious, but the plain truth is the MLS works very well. It is going to give you Zillow. It's going to give you Homes.com. It's going to give you Trulia and 100 other sites that people use every day to find houses. What happens is other companies like Military.com, they'll strip the information off the MLS and put it on their own site. That's where they get this stuff, is all from the MLS. And I'm telling you, there's hundreds of sites out there that strip the MLS and use that information. You and I both have never heard of, and people use them every day. If you have a realtor, MLS, that's a given. If you don't, if you're trying to do it on your own, I understand. If you don't, you're going to have to use something like a pay-for-access company where you pay them a few bucks. I'm not going to give an amount because I don't know, but you pay them X amount of dollars and they put your information for your house in the MLS. Understand, this is a fee for service. So there's going to be some that's all they do is put it in there, and there's legal limits on what they have to be involved with, be up to speed on that, because I don't watch those guys. But some of them will just do bare minimum, others will do a little bit more. Here's what I want you to understand about MLS and marketing in general. More splash does not mean a quicker sale or more money. What is more splash? Some people think that a 10-foot sign or a billboard of your house or a Facebook ad is going to make the difference in your house selling. I am telling you that home buyers are doggedly searching for homes all day, every day, and they're using every means possible. And it's not just Zillow. I've said that name a few times. It's a good company. They really get the word out, but they ain't the only ones. And people are doggedly searching for houses every day, and that includes yours. So understand MLS access. You just have to have that. Now, I mentioned Facebook a minute ago. Can you imagine think this is the process. Somebody puts their house on Facebook, and I'm not laughing to make fun. I'm saying, think it through one time. Somebody's on Facebook and they're looking at Uncle Fred and Aunt Mary and that kind of stuff. And then this house pops up. They go, wow, that's a really nice house. Honey, do you want to buy a house? That doesn't happen. When people are buying a house, it's on purpose, it's deliberate, and it's not because you bumped into a ad on a Facebook page. That ain't happening. However, there are some exceptions. There's a place called West Haven here. It's crazy popular. There are some people that have had luck putting their West Haven homes on their Facebook page, which is a limited group. It stays within the group that I'm going to be selling my house. Do you know anybody that wants it? They keep it in the family. Does that work for that kind of a thing? It does. But for the garden variety home across the country that's not in West Haven, if you don't live in West Haven, then you got to be in the MLS. Generally speaking, that's what's going to sell your house, bottom line, by getting seen. So MLS, use it. Number 8, this is about staging. A decluttered home looks great. If your home is vacant, you've moved out already and that place is vacant, you may need staging. I'm going to suggest this though. Don't do it right away. I suggest going without it first, just to try it, to save some money, because I'm telling you, staging can be expensive. If you have an agent and they offer to do it for free, because a lot of times they have hookups with other companies, go ahead and let them do that. That won't hurt a thing. But I'm telling you, stage only if needed. And the way you know this is, again, I told you early on, look at your competition. Go out and tour the homes that are competing with you in the market. And if all of them are 100%, have nice furniture and they're staged and that kind of stuff, you might have to stage. But it's a case-by-case basis. But let me tell you this deal. Staging is good sometimes when it's needed. It's good to have it. But it's not going to sell a house as quick as a better price. So keep that in mind, because it's not everything. Number 9, about pricing. This is going to be a tough one. I'm going to slow down a little bit for this one. Be honest with yourself when it comes to pricing. Look at your competition when it comes to pricing. When it comes to upgrades, you're going to want to add dollars onto the price. You just will. If you've got a pool or hardscaping, landscaping around the house, if you've got outdoor cooking areas, things like that, all these things will increase the value of your house, but not nearly as much as you think. Here's the seller's rule of thumb for assets. Sellers maximize value, buyers minimize value. For example, it costs you $30,000 to put an outside cooking area. You're going to want to just tack that onto the price of the house. The buyer, in their head, they'll add $5,000, maybe $8,000. Buyers maximize, buyers minimize on assets. That's just the way it is. On repairs, for example, cracked glass, uneven walkways, splits in the drywall. The seller's rule of thumb for liabilities, weaknesses in the house. Sellers minimize cost, buyers maximize cost. Here's a good example. If a window is cracked, the seller think, $10, $25, get that fixed. A buyer is going to think $100. If it's a sticky door or a bad lock, $10 to get that lock fixed. To the buyer, it's $100 to get that lock fixed. And that's the reason I'm telling you that is when they're putting together their offer in their head to make you, that's what they're doing, going with their calculations. Here's another thing to keep in mind. Pricing compensates for everything. That is the rule with real estate. Got a bad roof? A lower price will get it sold. Lots of little maintenance items through the house, we've talked about that. A lower price will get it sold. The HVAC and the water heater on the last legs, a lower price will get it sold. But keep this in mind, you'll have to lower the price way more than the cost of those repairs to get the house sold, because the buyer's looking at not only the repair cost, but the hassle factor. They're just factoring all of that all in, and that's going to end up being a pretty big dollar amount. Here's another thing. Talking about pricing, a buyer adds zero value to how hard it was for you to do something in your house. You put in, for example, here's a good example. When I lived in Colorado, I put in my own kitchen. I mean, I stripped out the old one and it needed to be stripped out. And I put in a new one, and when I got done, it looked really nice. But when it came time to sell, when I was talking to the agent, this goes back a lot of years, I wanted to add some pretty much maximum dollars to that kitchen because I remembered every drop of sweat, every nail, every bit of work, every sore muscle that I had putting that kitchen in. And they explained to me that the buyer doesn't care how hard it was. They only care that it's in there and that it's nice. And so I'm telling you, a buyer adds zero value to how hard it was for you to do something in a house. It's a heartbreaker. That broke my heart. But on the other flip side, it's the same thing when I was looking at houses. So fair is fair. So here's the pricing rule of thumb. If you list your house and nobody sets an appointment, I'm telling you, the price is way too high. If you list your house and you get some showings but no offers and then it slows down, the price is just a little bit too high. Remember, it just doesn't take all that much in terms of price adjustments to find the right price. It doesn't take as much as you think. I'm resisting giving a number because people will land on those numbers, but it doesn't take as much as you think. If you list your house at the right price for the condition that it's in, taking everything into account, you have an excellent chance of getting multiple offers. And to be honest, pricing is everything, period. So I'm telling you, get it right as soon as possible. Get out of your own head, get out of your own ego, whatever that is. Get your pricing right first, the first thing. The bottom line in home sales is this, and this, you can write this one down. Buyers are looking for one of two things: the most bang for their buck. They want to get the biggest, baddest house they can for the dollars that they have to spend, or the best fit for their situation. For example, a musician may want to have a basement, a place where they can isolate the sound and have a recording studio. If you have a lot of kids, you're gonna probably want more bedrooms, but you're also gonna want a basement or a bonus room with a door that you can close so they can get in there and play their games and be noisy, and still the rest of the house can kind of remain sane. And I don't mean that in good or bad, but if somebody has specific needs, like a garden, they're gonna want a little bit more land. So the two types, bang for your buck or the best fit for their situation, and you just don't know, you never know. You know, sometimes people are saying no to your house, not because it isn't a great house and a good value, but it doesn't fit their specific situation. So, hey, if you're getting value from my videos and you want to be the first to learn about the changing real estate market, hit subscribe and tap the bell. That'll help both of us. Thanks so much. See you later. Talk to you soon.